Hey, welcome to your Tuesday training. This is for Step It Up members, so lucky Step It Uppers. I'm so glad you're here. If you're watching this on a replay, even better because you're taking time out of your day to really do something good for you. And Q&A every month in the Step It Up training is going to, we're adding something new. I mean, coaching is always a part of your membership. It's always a part we do it every week. I mean, every Tuesday, even if I have a topic, you can come and ask a question. Facebook doesn't let us live stream anymore, so we're going to post the videos in Facebook, and we'll also put the replay into your Step It Up profile. But every month we're going to start adding board updates. So make sure you pay attention to that. I'm going to let somebody in from the waiting room. And this part is something I'm really excited about because we do try to do just a kind of a coaching session once a month. If you have questions about your practice, your website, how you're marketing, SEO, there are no silly questions because we've all been there. We've all been there when we're trying to start, doing good things for our practice. And it's like everybody knows something we don't. And we're like sitting there thinking, okay, what's wrong with me? I don't understand SEO. Y'all, nobody understands SEO. Nobody, like not even Google, because they change it all the time. So never feel silly because you don't understand something. It's literally changing by the minute. And Jennifer and I do our very, very best to keep up with it, but we've got to hire out questions all the time. I mean, we're always looking and digging and researching and going to meetings and doing this so we can bring it all to you, the lucky Step It Uppers. So questions first, I will check with, we've got Tiffany here. Tiffany, it's okay to leave your camera off, no worries at all, but do you have any questions, anything you need some coaching on today with your practice?
No, not at this moment. I can't think of anything right now, but if I think of something, I'll jump in.
Well, please do, because we're here for you. All right, well, Jennifer and I are just going to go back and forth yet, because of course we've got questions that people ask us either in the inbox or from, stalking the social media feeds. So Jennifer, what you got? What kind of questions do we have?
We recently had a question about the NCE and the NCMHCE. I think I said that right.
Yes.
That used to, once you took that test, you had a 5-year clock started to get your associate license. And I'm hearing that recently went away.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, the whole idea that our courses, our test scores, our degree plans are like milk, like it expires after a certain date. That's all been going away over the past 5 to 7 years. And I guess this is the last thing because NCE is a private company, so they are not governed by BHEC or LPC or any of that, right? They are their own thing. And Texas just uses their test as its licensing. And we're talking about LPC. And then what's the other test is I know you and I always say it wrong, mental health, MHMCE, right? Something like that.
And yeah, National Mental Health Clinicians. NCMH.
Yeah.
I always mess it up. I can't.
So you're saying though, it's the same thing though? It does not expire either, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, good to know. So if you are a new graduate, or even if you are someone who is coming back as a second career or something, you're like maybe a school counselor and you're going to go get your LPC associate license, you've got to get that exam. Well, Texas accepts 2 exams, right? The NCE and the one we can't say. And good to know that those don't expire. At least
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tiffany, go for it.
Okay, so that's very new. I did not know that.
Mhm.
So even the people who because I have a couple of associates right now, and they're maybe about a year or so in. So even theirs doesn't expire.
Well, we're talking about exam scores, not their.
Oh, okay, not the associate license.
I'm
Okay.
so glad you clarified that. Yes. No, that excellent question. No, we're talking about exam scores. So yes, licenses still expire. So both the LPC and the LMFT associate licenses only last 60 months or 5 years.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And so if anyone is out there sort of thinking about, there was a rule about, degrees expiring after 10 years or something like that, all went away. So the other thing then, Jennifer, is the PhD course, right? So you and I, we don't have a firm answer on this, but it sounds like we're leaning. So here's the deal, right? PhD programs will offer a supervision course. Well, you take that course and you have 5 years from passing that course to apply for your supervisor designation, which means, the 3 years of experience. If you're an LMFT, I'm sorry, 3 years or 3,000 hours. If you're an LMFT, or I'm going to say it wrong, 5 years if you're an LPC. So, right. So that course is your 40-hour training, right? That's why our 40-hour training is so rigorous, right? It's got to compare to a PhD course. And that's why all of the 40-hour trainings can only last 90 days because they have to be the same as a PhD semester. So all of that to say, Jennifer and I have kind of been, scratching our heads because we didn't know if it was 5 years from the date that you took the course or 5 years from your date of graduation. So we're going to look into that more, but I think we're hearing it's from the date you pass the course.
That
So,
was my understanding. And it was the idea that you don't have, the course stands alone. You don't have to have the PhD to get the designation. So
right.
you could take the course and still never graduate and
Oh.
it still apply. Because
Mhm.
if you had to be from 5 years of graduation, then there's the implication that you have to have that degree when it was just that course. That was
Right.
how I understood it. But again, definitely want clarification.
Good point. Yeah. So if you're listening to this, one of the things the Step It Up membership offers is a $100 coupon if you haven't taken the 40-hour training. Well, wouldn't it be better to spend $0 and just say, no, I took this course in my PhD program and it's still good. And I'm just going to go apply for my designation once I hit my 5 years for LPC or 3,000 hours / 3 years for LMFT. So yeah, always better to spend $0 than lots of dollars. Let's see, what other questions have I seen out there? Somebody asking questions about registered agent, and I just don't know enough about that. Accountants, I just know you need a good one. Let's see, what is something else? I'm going through my notes here. Oh, I know a good question. You were just asked this the other day. So where do clients' feet have to be? Where do our feet have to be when we are delivering counseling services? So picture feet, right? Picture everybody look down and look at your feet, right? So if I'm a therapist, I'm Kate Walker, I'm sitting in my office, my feet are in Lampasas, right? If I am delivering services and my feet are in Lampasas, that's great. Big deal. What matters is where, if Jennifer was my client, where are Jennifer's feet? So if her feet are in Texas, then picture this nice big protective fence around Jennifer. She is protected by Texas rules because she is in the border of Texas, right? There she is. Now, if she decides to cross the border into Oklahoma, Texas rules don't apply. So you picture that fence, right? Picture that fence around here that's protecting her. Now it's an Oklahoma shaped fence that's protecting her. So it doesn't matter where my feet are. It matters where the person who is receiving services feet are, right? So you can
It
be,
never ceases to amaze me how many people
I
really
know.
don't understand that. And
And
that's why I love that visualization that you gave, because the next questions are, well, then how does somebody get a license in Florida and in Texas and in Oklahoma and New Mexico?
or New
Because we're not
Hampshire.
traveling. Yeah, or New Hampshire. Because we're not traveling to all those states to see our clients. So, but I feel like there's a lot of therapists out there who just are not very in tune with where are your feet? My feet are physically in Wolford today, so we are good.
Right. Well, and what was the wording? I mean, the wording on the last set of rules, and Jennifer and I are having a meeting tomorrow just to kind of go through again, kind of all the rules that have changed. Plus, we have a bunch of proposed rules coming up. So we want to make sure that we get in front of that, especially for our Step It Up members. And it's honestly, the wording is like legalese and just some language I've never heard before. I've never read anything more confusing in my life when I try to read how Texas describes, basically in a nutshell, what it says is, if Kate's feet are here and I'm delivering services to a client whose feet are also within that cozy boundary of Texas, I am counseling. And that is that counseling because of where my client is, right? Once my client's feet are in another boundary, within the boundary of another jurisdiction, another set of rules, another set of protection, basically what the Texas rule says is I'm no longer counseling, right? If I'm licensed in Texas, right, and I'm trying to deliver counseling services, it's almost like picture like, what is that? The force field, right, that repels things, right? I'm trying to deliver counseling services to Oklahoma, but Oklahoma is repelling me, right? I can't do it because my client is in Oklahoma and their rules don't recognize my license. They don't recognize my services that I'm delivering as counseling services. So, yeah, basically, well, that's why groups like the Traveling Counselor exist. And I'm not affiliated with that person or anything, but I see her posts all the time. Counselors are delivering services from all over the world and they're relying on their license, right? So someone who is in Maine delivering services, to a Texas client they're licensed in Texas, they're delivering services to people within Texas, then they're good to go. So I don't know.
And if you want to deliver services to clients in Oklahoma, they give you the option to get licensed in Oklahoma.
They really do, don't they? Right? Like if we want to deliver services in Florida, Florida's like, hey, we'll give you a license.
Yeah. Which is so it's great. But that's what makes the counseling compact and reciprocity. I can't say that word.
That one.
I'm all over with my words today. That's what makes those so important so that we can offer services to these clients regardless of where they are.
Right. And offering services to clients outside of Texas, that's big business, and that's great. I hope folks do that. And I hope the compact goes through, but just remember, we're going to have other people wanting to come here delivering services here. So competition, right? So
Yep.
Gotta talk that one through. All right. Any other questions? I'm going to look at the Texas Counselors Creating Badass Businesses real quick and see if anything jumps out at me. The account question again. Let me put on recent. Oh, there was a public speaking question, and we do have that. We had our Cindy Doyle webinar Thursday, and that is actually being packaged up with a nice bow on top for Step It Up members. That's going to be added to your profile as an actual CE because we offered it as a live CE. So if you're interested in speaking and podcasting for pay, anything outside of the therapy room, Cindy gave a really good presentation on that. So all of that will go, probably we'll have that ready for you by July, so we'll get that going here in June. There is a question about if you're listening to this and you're a supervisor, if your associate is not seeing clients, do they need supervision? The answer is no, right? So they don't need supervision if they're not. In fact, if you're taking payment for supervision and they're not seeing clients, well, that's not really good for them, right? Because they're paying for a service that they don't really need, right? So the idea with LPC though is to document a break. So if they are not going to see clients for 1 month or longer, you document that break in the supervisee's file. You don't need to send it to the board. You don't need to add it to the notes and, you know, for experience hours when you turn in their paperwork. Really, the board doesn't want that information. This is between you and the supervisee, and it's really a good idea to put an ending date on that. So if it's maternity leave or something like that, and you know they won't be seeing clients for, let's say, 3 months, have a start date and an end date. If they see even one client for 1 hour, then for LPC associates, they have to have the 4 hours of supervision within a month period of time, right? So it is all or nothing. So if you're noticing, like if you're a supervisor listening to this and you notice your supervisee keeps coming in week 1, hadn't seen anybody week 2, hasn't seen anybody week 3, you're still taking their money, they haven't seen anybody, ask them, say, hey, are you even planning on seeing any clients? If not, then let's document a break, because it looks like that we're going at least 1 month without seeing clients. And how many times can they do that? Well, the rules don't specify. So, you know, we don't like to give you any information if it's not in black and white in the rules. So where it is absent, then you, supervisor, get to develop a best practices, right? So if you notice your supervisor just keeps being absent, or not absent, sorry, scratch that, reverse it. If your supervisee keeps coming to you with 0 clients, and then they want to take another break, and then they want to take another break, that may not be a good fit, right? That may, especially if you're wanting to supervise by time, which means you wanted this person to upgrade in 18 to 24 months, and they're like not on track at all. I know for me personally, when I was supervising, that was not my happy place. I did not want a supervisee who was going to drag their feet 18 months, 24 months, and all of a sudden we're like growing old together. You know, no, that's not what I want to do. So it looks like we got Pam joining us. Pam, do you have any questions for today's Q&A session and / coaching session? And you can chat too. I did open up the chat if you'd prefer to chat. Looks like you're muted.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hi. A question, I guess, for grad student supervision as well as LPC associates. The cross-cutting assessment tools in the DSM-5. Do we use it a lot? Do you use it? And what that information is so huge. I know it's a lot of screening stuff in there. So I'm looking it up now about the scoring of it. And is it just the higher numbers that would indicate clinical significance that we need to pursue in our interviews?
So what's the name of the assessment again?
The cross-cutting, let's see, what is it? The dimensional concepts right in the back of the DSM-5, there's some assessment tools for different levels, age levels, like 6 to 17, children, and then an adolescent age group, and then an adult age group. And this is level 1 questioning. So I'm not really familiar using it. I've looked at it, I've read it, but I usually get very specific in, you know, when a client comes in and they have a presentation, we kind of know, okay, this is going into a depression kind of questionnaire, baseline gathering. So I just was wondering what the, you know, common use of the cross-cultural, cutting symptom measures. Do we use it, and how do we score it?
Great question. And I since it's not really a rules question, I can't really be specific, but I will defer to the idea of with any assessment, even the one in the DSM, it sounds like you're doing the right thing. You're reading the instructions, you're trying to understand it, you're getting consultation, that's what we do with any assessment, even something simple, like a Beck depression inventory, right? You have to understand how it's normed, how it's intended to be used, what population it's intended to be used on, et cetera, et cetera. So, Pam, it sounds like that's all you can do is just keep doing your research and seek to understand more and more about that as you're using it. And if it's going to especially if it's going to inform your diagnosis.
Yeah, I supervise grad students at Shield Bearer counseling centers, and they have just recently, within the last month, uploaded level 1 for all 3 age groups as a tool, as a screening tool for use.
The grad school or Shield Bearer?
I'm sorry?
The grad school has or Shield Bearer has?
Shield Bearer has uploaded that level 1 questionnaire into their Theranest. So all counselors, including grad students, can use it.
You might want to consider doing a quick training, offer to do a quick CE or have someone, because I'll inform the rule piece, right? We're not supposed to do any kind of assessment without proper training, right? So if you're the one who's going to be doing the hard work and doing the research and then delivering the supervision, then maybe take some time and tell Shield Bearer, look, I don't feel comfortable supervising this until I'm confident they've been trained. And so maybe even contact the professors from, I don't know, they probably don't all come from a single university. That would be nice, right? But it sounds like if somebody's going to offer the training, it's probably going to have to be you, the supervisor.
Okay. Okay.
Good question, though.
I appreciate that. That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, it looks like we have a question in the chat. I have a question about providing personal items for clients, who sounds intriguing. Tiffany, can you say more about that?
Yes. So I was able to kind of think on my supervision I had with an associate yesterday, and she was telling me about a home visit for a family that she does with her agency. And she was saying that the agency provides them with like a case manager and stuff like that. But, and I'm sorry if I'm winded, I'm on my Peloton.
Good for
I'm
you.
trying to multitask.
All right.
And so she was saying that it looks like they need like cleaning supplies and maybe some personal feminine hygiene stuff. And she was wondering if she could provide them with anything. And I told her, I'm sorry.
What did your gut say?
My gut said, just keep it under $50, but but I also was like, well, because I guess my mind went to like school counselors and how they have like a closet for some of their students of things. But, of course, none of those things add up to, a exorbitant amount of money. And so, but I did tell her to consult with the case manager that's on the case and see if they've already provided anything, because my concern was it might not be a resource issue, it might be a lack of motivation to use the resources that have been provided. So to check that first. But then I did also reiterate with her about, gift giving and how it can't go over a certain amount. So I was just wondering, you guys' thoughts on that.
Awesome. All right. So here's, first of all, the rule, you got it flipped. It's actually the other way around. We can't receive gifts over $50. So,
okay. Yeah, I thought it went both ways. All right.
Nope, it's just the receiving end for us. What's going to impact the flip, though, us providing, is going to be the negative impact on the relationship. And is it really for the client's benefit? And it's a huge boundary issue, right? Because if you think, okay, it's at feminine hygiene products, or am I going to offer them a ride, or am I going to help get them a job, or am I going to, right? So it's really, really mushy and gray. And with associates trying, and I'm going to step into the role of a supervisor now. If I'm helping them identify countertransference, right, and to help them understand, okay, is this a therapeutic intervention, right? Because everything that comes out of your mouth, from your face to your, your words to your face, to whether you're leaning forward or leaning back, Everything has to be therapeutic in some way. So what therapeutic purpose would giving a gift or giving a supply or providing a resource have? And so I would almost say that's her stepping into the role of a case manager instead of being the therapist. And so offering that supervisee ideas like you did, which was, why don't you go to the case manager first and let's get to the bottom of why this person, you know, with permission, right? You don't want to reveal any confidential information. And I don't know how that's set up at her agency. But understanding that she may not be therapeutic when she's giving. In fact, I would honestly, as a supervisor, I would say it's a hard no. But I'm kind of tough. Also, the idea that a school counselor who has the closet isn't always an LPC, right? So sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, but it's a, you know what I mean? So this is the
Right.
supervisor where you're trying to kind of sift through all that.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. And does that help? I mean, do you have any questions or comments or pushback? I'll take pushback too.
No, that does help because, you know, I would rather her not. But
Good
then, you
gut.
know, because I've been doing this for so long, sometimes I feel like, wait, am I being jaded? Am I being like cold or something? So, you know, I'm just like,
You
okay,
are
yeah,
not.
I'd rather her not, just because of that. I don't want it to become a slippery slope where maybe the clients are expecting things from her or, you know, that kind of thing.
I'm telling you, Tiffany, especially if they're level 1, level 2 supervisees, ask them to check their counter transference. I mean, and I would say like 98.9% of the time with supervisees, when their heart's pulling on them like that, it's a counter transference thing that they're just not need to process with you, you know?
Nice. Okay, yeah, I will definitely address that with her the next time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions? We're coming on 12:30, but I don't mind answering other questions. All right, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining, and I can't wait. Next month is going to be so exciting because we're going to be doing the 14-week summer private practice boot camp. So not only Q&A like this, not only coaching like this, but specific, measurable, trackable things to make sure your practice is improving. So whatever that means to you, more phone calls, more clients, more booked sessions, right? So it's going to be a great June. It's going to be a great summer. Thank you guys for attending. And if you're watching me on a replay, you're awesome because you're doing this while you're doing something boring, like sitting on a Peloton, perhaps. I don't know, Tiffany, maybe a Peloton's exciting. I don't know. I've never done it. So have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
day. See you guys later. Bye.